You've got to shoot this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoot it.
Look how much snow we've got now. So I'm a bit like a rotting apple. I know my first ski suit was a C&A ski suit.
If there's a lot of snow this winter, I won't be podcasting. I'm going to be skiing. Beautiful. Skis that are better than Tartiflette. That's exactly what I was thinking. 30 trails,
That's
Rob.
a lot.
Can you imagine? We need to just go and... We've got to go together and do one of these, surely.
Maybe we should invent a sort of Japanese version of Tartiflette.
So, Rob, big shout out to our sponsors today, Ski Independence and Canada's Alberta. Do you know Ski Independence?
Yeah, I do. I know our friends up in Edinburgh, Dom. You know, they've been helping people holiday in Alberta for almost 30 years now.
Wow, 30 years of experience taking people to North America and Canada. I mean, that's incredible.
It is. They know everything from Banff's après ski locations to wildlife spotting in Lake Louise to getting the best out of a multi-centre itinerary like road tripping up the spectacular Icefields Parkway between Lake Louise and Jasper. That's an experience like no other.
That's incredible, isn't it? You know what my suggestion is, Rob?
No.
Book with TaylorMade Specialist Ski Independence and get your booking in early this season because heading out to Alberta, perfect place for big powder, great ski destinations. Don't forget, listeners, go to ski-i.com/Alberta to find out more about visiting the likes of Jasper's, Marmot Basin, Banff, Lake Louise, and all of those awesome resorts out there. So welcome back to the 5th podcast this season. Yes, it's the 5th already. I can't believe it. So just a reminder to our listeners that we released a special episode last week looking at all mountain skis. We loved that one, didn't we, Rob?
That one.
We love talking
skis.
about skiing.
Talk about skis all day.
Haven't had my chance to introduce you like I normally do, Rob, but this time I'm going for my co-host, the scruffy, the disorganised, the idiotic, the frankly terrible skier. It's Rob Stewart.
Oh, thanks, Dom. Well, finally a bit of honesty from you, at least. I'm glad you cleared the air with that one. I do agree a bit. I mean, you know, this is the time of year I compare to apples. Bear with me here. So I'm a bit like a rotting apple. Well, if you eat an apple in August, right, just before harvest time, they've been in storage for months. You know, I mean, forget about the fact you can get them from the Southern Hemisphere for a minute. Yeah. And it's the same for me right now. And skiing, it's kind of been such a long time, the very longest time before the season kicks off again. So I'm a bit like a rotting apple.
Yeah, you always say this. You always say
that. Not that I'm any better at the end of the season, to be honest. A bit more broken, maybe, and knackered. But happy, obviously.
I think there's a song about that, isn't there?
What, broken and happy?
Broken and happy, yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on that one. Yeah. Anyway, back on piste. What is happening this week, Dom?
I like what you did there, Rob. Well, this week we've got our latest gear roundup. We've got where's good to ski now, or where is the snow conditions, because we've got some great news there. Can't believe what's changed in a week. And we've got our spotlight on Park City Resort, fabulous destination, which I was in just over a year ago. And I thought we'd do a little bit of a Japan roundup as well. So, yeah, we've got some pretty hot topics this week. So, quick reminder to our listeners, we do rely on you leaving us a great review or a review. And by leaving a review on Apple or Spotify, it does mean that more like-minded listeners can find this ski podcast, and that does help us create more fabulous content for you. So if you're on Apple, you can find it on the actual podcast itself, not the episode. Scroll to the bottom and you can then rate it and leave a review. And if you're on Spotify, you can go to the episode, scroll to the bottom, and it says Q&A. What did you think of this episode? Where you can leave that, or you can find the podcast where there are 3 little dots on your Spotify account. You can click on them and click rate the show. We do appreciate it if you can go ahead and do that. First up, our news section. Rob, what is happening, or am I up first?
It's up to you, Dom. Take it away if you want.
We've got the new lift and ski area in Plagne, one of the most popular ski resorts in France, Plagne, opening a brand new gondola lift for the start of the season. It's the first stage of a huge project linking Plagne Bellecote with the glacier, or glacier, however you prefer to say that. This first stage is the 10-seater glacier gondola, starting from Roche de Millau and going up to 3,000 meters. So that's very good news for Plagne. It will be opening up a new terrain for skiers and snowboarders, and apparently offering panoramic views over the Vanoise Glacier, which can't get any better. The lift will operate during the summer too. It's a 10-minute journey, and the lift will carry 2,700 people an hour. That sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? Looking forward to trying that out. What do you think?
I'd love to try it out because I've never actually been skiing in Plagne before,
Wow.
ever. So
Wow.
I know that's crazy. I mean, it does seem a bit. I've driven past it, hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times.
Why haven't I stopped? I don't know, but that does sound great.
Well, Rob,
fantastic.
if you need more information about that, you can go to laplanresort.com, so you can go and find out for yourself about this new lift that's going in there.
I'm going to do that. And actually, I've got a news story that sort of links in with possibly going to Plagne this winter as well. There's a new transfer service called Dartbus. It's a British-owned and operated company. It's launched a new service that links Geneva Airport directly with some of the largest ski resorts in the French Alps. It operates exclusively to the Tarentaise region. So, direct destinations. And that's one of the things that they really want to make clear. Direct destinations include Val Thorens, Tignes, and Val d'Isère. And if you do want to go to Plagne or Les Arcs, there are stops in Moutier for Méribel and Courchevel, actually in Aim for Plagne, and Bourg-Saint-Maurice for Les Arcs. So,
okay. And we're talking bus. This isn't a mini bus. This is a full-on bus.
No, it's a bus.
Okay.
I think it depends on the group size, but they have got full-size coaches.
Okay.
So fares cost £50 for one way, direct to the resort, or £90 for a return journey. Pretty good value, including luggage and ski or snowboard equipment. The tickets are flexible as well, so they can be changed up to 1 week before travel. And any passengers that experience sort of flight delays, they'll be moved on to the next available bus. So there's also a dedicated Dartbus desk at the arrivals hall in Geneva Airport on the Swiss side. And you can check it out at dartbus.co.uk.
I hadn't heard about that. That's very interesting.
I'll jump on one of those buses to Plagne.
And go and see Plagne's new lift. That sounds like a great idea. What about the ski club survey, Rob?
Yeah, it was a survey that's just been released, and it's the state of the UK snow sports market in partnership with Snow and Rock and the Mountain Trade Network. And it's quite interesting. This is a survey that Ski Club run every year. Some of the interesting findings I picked out were like 39% of the respondents said they intend to book 2 holidays for this winter, which is actually up from only 33% last year. But 40% are saying the reason why they didn't book a skiing holiday last season was due to cost. But apparently for around 20% of the market, cost isn't an issue at all. I guess that means 80% of the market cost is an issue. The booking season is also becoming more polarized. That means, more early bookings. 55% of skiers booking more than 6 months before departure compared to 35% pre-COVID, and 31% saying they intend to stay in a 4-star hotel this winter. And last season, only 23% said they did. So they intend to stay higher.
Dreaming versus reality, isn't it? I'm always planning on staying in a 5-star hotel, and I always end up in a tent.
Right. And I think when you do see, the intent is really interesting to compare that with actually what the reality is. Yeah. And the intent is often, a little bit higher, let's say, than the actual reality. So 77% took a flight for their skiing holiday last winter. This year, 12% of respondents intent to take a train, compared to only 2% taking the train last season. So it will be interesting to see how many people actually do take the train.
Yeah, absolutely.
A combined 92% say that more train services and lower costs would be the most likely factors and encourage them to taking the train in the future.
I'm sure.
Which I think is fairly obvious. In other words, skiers say they care deeply about sustainability, but other factors, and most notably cost, they currently rank higher in skiers' priority sustainability. Although the growth of that is very high.
Cool.
The UK skiers apparently getting more fitter compared to pre-COVID years, when 15% of respondents admitted doing no exercise between ski seasons. And then skiers are also dreaming about the kind of experiences they would like to have: heli skiing and traveling to long-haul destinations, with Canada and Japan top of the list. But, perhaps more realistically, over 30% would like to try ski touring at some point. So that's a high number, and almost 30% intend to ski tour this winter as well. So 30% of that big demographic.
That's a lot.
Wanted to try ski touring. That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can check out more information on skiclub.co.
I'm always very skeptical about these statistics. But
I think what is interesting is to compare, the historical data that comes out.
Yeah.
When you do compare the historical data, there are trends there.
Very good. A quick shout out to our charity partner Snow Camp, the game-changing national youth charity who turn young lives around with the power of snow sports. We both know Snow Camp, don't we, Rob? We love these guys.
Yeah.
They do amazing work harnessing the power of skiing and snowboarding to develop life skills, qualifications, and positive opportunities for over 1,000 hard-to-reach young people every year. Please, listeners, go ahead and visit snowcamp.org.uk to find out more about Snow Camp, our charity partner today. Well, I don't know whether this is so much a news story as it is for a gear story, but H&M's, the family clothing store that you get in the high street, they have launched a snow collection, a ski collection of clothing. So it's called the H&M Move Snow Collection. I was looking at this stuff yesterday while I was at the Snow Centre in Hemel Hempstead. And yeah, I mean, I had a couple of 25-year-old-ish people trying on the H&M clothing and they were absolutely loving it. So, I mean, price, style, quality, technology, it really was neat stuff. I have to say, especially one of their shell layers was an astoundingly nice piece of kit. Good prices, nice quality. It's not a super high-end scale, so you're not talking about your sort of Arc'teryx North Face type stuff, but actually in that sort of mid-range, lower-priced end stuff, really, really nice quality, great styling. Definitely worth looking out for the H&M Move Snow Collection. I'm not being paid to say that. It was because of the fact these people genuinely did say, please make sure you tell H&M we really like their gear. And I was thinking, wow, and these were quite funky sort of 20-something-year-old dudeish that you'd sort of think would be happier seeing wearing, I don't know, planks or rusk or something like that.
Yeah.
They were generally impressed with the ski gear. So yeah, really nice to see that. Anything that can help people.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
I think it's great that a high street shop like H&M, such a big brand, is offering ski clothing. It sort of harks back to me. It's a little bit like the back in the day with C&A. I know my first ski suit was a C&A ski suit, and it was affordable and it was available, and it didn't have any kind of there was no airs and graces about it, was it? It was just functional, good stuff. It looked great.
And you're still wearing it now, Rob. You're still rocking it now.
Yes. Oh gosh, I wish I had that. I wish I had that old C&A ski suit. I wish I've kept a few things, but that would have been fun. Anyway, no, that's good news.
Very good. And then another one that caught my eye, SkiWeekends, our friend at SkiWeekends, skiweekends.com, launched the CO2 travel comparison tools. This is pretty nice. So SkiWeekends are very into their flexible and short break specialist travel arrangements. So people can go any day they like and come back any day they like. That's their specialism. They've launched an online tool that enables people to check their carbon emissions and compare what they would have used against traveling by train or car. So, for example, they use Valtorem to demonstrate that if you fly and use a transfer bus, for example, you'd use 233.3 kilograms. But if you took the train to Geneva and then got the bus, it would only be 15.4 kilograms. Obviously, a massive difference. But if you drove all the way there in a car, 104.9 kilograms. So, yeah, if you drove there, almost half than if you were flying. Except if you're me, surely when I'm driving an electric car, it's going to be a lot less than that. I'm sure that's based on a petrol car. Yeah, they point out
that is based on a. I believe that data is based on a petrol vehicle.
Yeah. So they point out that actually over 70% of the carbon emissions we use on a ski holiday is actually from flying, and every resort page on their page is now giving that opportunity to do the comparison. So obviously they're not going out to solve the world's problems, but it's definitely highlighting the challenges that is creating awareness, which in turn I'm sure will drive demand for train travel and hopefully increase those services and hopefully drive down prices. They also say that taking the train from London is pretty much the same as flying. That's if you're based in London, obviously, and taking airport times into consideration. But obviously, a lot of our friends that are based slightly further away from London airports may find it a little bit trickier. Our editor based in Inverness, for example, he always has to do that extra schlep down here before he can get off into Geneva. But to be honest, it's hard to beat the plane for time, but there's not a huge amount in it. And I can say from experience, the whole experience is more relaxing and less tiring, be it on the train or in the car. Let's be honest, airports aren't as glamorous as they maybe make out. When you're sitting around for a couple of hours and you're sitting on the floor somewhere and then a little delay, it is amazing how much more time you can get motoring. I'm going to be heading out over New Year and I will be driving down in an electric car, and hopefully that is a nice green way to travel to the Alps.
Yeah, definitely. This is the exciting part of our podcast today, I think, Dom, for reasons that are going to become very, very clear very, very soon. Our weather section. So, Dom, we are definitely talking snow.
We are talking
What's
snow.
What's it looking like as we get into that sort of business end of the autumn?
Yeah, well, firstly, we caught up with some friends in Chamonix. In fact, one of your mates there, Dave Robertson of Action Outdoors, he's based in Chamonix. He said, this is his quote: "This is the best snow we've seen at this time of the season in the past 18 years. I have been in Chamonix. I love it. There's already a number of tracks up there. The mid-station's still open for hikers, but I tell you what, it's skiers that are taking advantage of it now." Did that sound like Dave?
But it was his words. Yeah, it was definitely his words. And
how cool is that?
That was a couple of days ago. He told us that, wasn't it? And I know that now it's snowing even more. And this weekend it's snowing even more. I spoke yesterday to the tourist office in Leger, and snow was forecast into town. And fantastic. I've also saw pictures coming out of Switzerland, the Valais region of Switzerland today, places such as Crans-Montana and other ski resorts. It's snowing heavily there right now. There's pictures coming from everywhere.
I love it.
It's and there's no high pressure this year blocking all that snow. That's basically the situation.
Seems to be the main feeling is that snow is now secure. Now that we're getting into November, and it just keeps on building on that snow, with temperatures looking set to remain cold up to the sort of altitudes you'd expect to see early on in the season. So yeah, it's looking good. Looking good.
It is. I mean, what's looking like the best bet for an early season trip then? I'm planning to head to the French Alps on the first weekend of December.
Nice idea. So, well, let's start in the French Alps then. Tons of snow reports, social media images piling in. So loads and loads and loads of images coming out of tons of resorts, mainly above 1,500 meters. Firstly, Teen, great news, announced that they are opening early. So they're now planned to open on the 18th of November. The weekend after next rather than on the 25th. So that's super cool once you get resorts opening earlier. Hannah of France specialist ski company Peak Retreats contacted us about this, and she said they're opening up the glacier with an option of a returning slope to Val Claret via the double M piece. So with a continued progressive opening of the rest of the ski area from the 25th of November, it's very exciting news for the start of the season. So that's great news coming from our friends at Peak Retreats that we've mentioned before. Yep. And it's not only Teen opening early, but a number of other resorts have announced early openings over the next few weekends due to the snowfall in the Alps, including Kitzbühel, Schladming in Austria this weekend, Madonna di Campiglio in Italy from the 18th, and Arosa, Davos and Verbier in Switzerland from this weekend, joining more than a dozen glacier ski areas that have already opened. But Teen is the first French resort to announce that they're opening early.
I actually heard this morning that Verbier had opened their lifts already, so they've just got on. They've just done it, I think. So yeah,
let's just do it
because
do it. I don't blame them. So resorts in the Alps have reported up 60 centimeters. That's 2 feet to you and I, Rob, of snow on the high slope since last Friday, and more significant snowfall is in the forecast for the week ahead, expected to be heaviest in the French and Western Alps. Val Thorens opening weekend is scheduled for the 25th and 26th, the Grand Premiere, and checking the webcams, it looks like the middle of the winter is already there, with snow way below the resort, 45 centimetres of snow forecast for Val Thorens over the next 7 days, on top of what they've already got. So that's looking good, and I'm sure we're going to see the list cranking up early there too. So good news.
I'm sure. I mean, this is absolutely the best start to a winter for years. And in fact, over a couple of days ago, I heard officially I saw that the northern French Alps, there was something official that came out of that area saying this is the most snow since 2002 was last time they had this kind of snowfall this early in the season.
Wow. Fantastic.
Over 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? Well, looks like a great start, that's for sure. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, what about elsewhere?
So Switzerland's looking pretty good too, and Austria, the mountains are looking pretty white in St. Anton, although the snow levels there isn't quite down to the resort of 1,300 metres. It's pretty close, and there's around 30 centimetres more forecast down to the resort level in the next week. Dolomites and the likes of Bormio in Italy also have snow, certainly on the higher slopes, but in many areas the snow is pretty low down too. Chavinia is all set for the weekend downhill race, and it's looking spectacular on the course right now. I think it will look properly winter-like when you see that. And if you get a chance to catch on Eurosport this weekend, that'll definitely get you into that winter feeling. There's not quite as much snow forecast for the Southern Alps over the next week, but there's still 17 centimetres forecast for Serre Chevalier. So it's pretty decent snow down there too. So that's
I think it is.
It's all good news.
I think it is. Yeah, and it's getting better. I mean,
yeah.
What about over in North America, Don? What's happening there?
Yeah, pretty good snowfall out there too. So places such as Arapahoe Basin, I mean, they're always famed for having their huge long season. I feel like we were only just saying on the podcast that they had their last run of the season and now they're doing their first. So they have a massive season. Keystone already reporting 45 centimetres of snow on their upper slopes, and there's up to 10 centimetres forecast for the next week. They snow all the way down too, so it's fantastic starts to the season in Colorado, and the likes of Utah, Montana, Wyoming, all looking good. It's looking sunny and cold in California this week, but again, they have had snow and there's more forecast in the next couple of weeks. And then over in the east, you've got Killington starting to open, and it's fairly cold, so they may start making snow there. It's been very warm over in Japan recently. They've even just recorded a record November temperature of 27 degrees in Tokyo, so that's a bit of a different story.
Yeah.
But the good news is it's turning much colder in Hokkaido, and which we're going to hear about a little bit later on in this podcast. And snow is forecast for next week. But temperatures do need to drop further in Hakuba. We know they will, and I've got a good feeling it will be over the next week or so. They will start moving into snowy conditions, and no doubt they are going to end up shouting at us and saying, "Ha, look how much snow we've got now."
It's going to happen.
So overall, I think, Rob, we can say it's a good start to the winter. We've been saying that we are due a good one. I tell you now, if there's a lot of snow this winter, I won't be podcasting. I'm going to be skiing.
And interestingly, just to add, I saw this morning that obviously the race is on, the new race in Zermatt Chavinia is on this weekend, and they've had to cancel the training today, the downhill training, because there's just too much snow. It's been dumping it with snow, and they have to clear it all. So whilst last year they had to cancel the race because there was no snow,
exactly,
this year it's looking like, I mean, we hope it goes ahead, obviously. Wow. But if it doesn't go ahead, it's because there's too much snow this year.
That's a great start to the season. So what's up next, Rob, is that we're going to do some gear reviews. We've got our hands on some cool gear this week. What have you got for us?
Okay, yeah, well, this one, it's a really nice story. It's not about a specific piece of gear, but it's from one of our favorite brands, Helly Hansen, and it's called Ski Free. You get a day of skiing in one of over 50, proper top resorts in Europe or North America when you buy a ski jacket or pants from the latest Helly Hansen ski collection.
That is a good deal.
So I think it's a good deal. There's some fantastic sort of world-class resorts in the mix. We've got Chamonix, Verbier, Stade, Halfjell, obviously those are Chamonix in France, Verbier and Stade in Switzerland, Halfjell and Vitvel in Norway, Kicking Horse, my favourites in Canada, and Snow Basin in Canada. That's just a couple of the North American resorts on offer. There's loads of European, loads of North American resorts. Glen Shee is on the list as well. So I like that because perhaps it's an opportunity to go up and ski in Scotland this year. I
love the fact that you get Glen Shee mixed in. Glen Shee, Chamonix, Verbier, Stade. That's fantastic. I love it.
Stade, Glen Shee.
Yeah, exactly.
What are the comparisons? What links those three things together?
Very good.
It's not that obvious. Not always that obvious, actually. Yeah. But you get up to Scotland, bit of good kit with you. You'll probably need it. So I quite like that idea. It's a pretty simple deal. The website's very informative as well, very clear about where you can ski for free and how it works.
Right.
So, like I said, you either get 3 days at Lift Pass, or for some areas it is a 2-for-1 deal.
Yep.
It does look like a bit of a no-brainer if you're thinking about buying some new kit for the season. Why not get a 3-day skiing in as well? So
absolutely right.
Check it out.
Where do we get more information on this?
Yeah, hellyhansen.com // ski free.
Fantastic. What a great initiative. They've done this before, haven't they? So it's great having that this year as well. So very good. Yeah. What else have we got? Nice. So Planks, we've got a story out of Planks. Are you going to tell us about that one?
Yes. Yeah, our friends at Planks, they say Planks on Rain Kiss, the freshest recycled poncho drop in time for Christmas. So coming out of Manchester, Planks, the makers of proper good ski gear, that's what they say. They're buzzing, apparently, to be working in collaboration with the people at Rainkiss as they release their new recycled ponchos and bucket hats. They say, this is Planks, they say, as proud Mancunians, we're all too familiar with non-stop filthy downpours, but you can trust in this gear to keep you dry from Piccadilly to Amsterdam and all the way to the mountains. I don't know what Amsterdam's got to do with it, but I'll probably fathom a guess. But yeah, they keep on talking in their sort of cool down with the kids way, and I kind of like it. So in their words, not mine, if your rainy day tunes are ironically drying up, just scan the QR code on the cuff of the poncho for a weather update and fresh new collab playlist from Planks and Rainkiss. This gear won't just make you look sick, it'll provide the beats as you stomp through puddles or fly down mountains.
Oh my God. I'm feeling my age.
Yes. Well, that's why I wanted to quote them, because, you know, obviously I can't like this. At Planks, we champion the versatility of our gear, and this collaboration is no different. The unisex kit blends both functionality and fashion with a hand-designed print, ensuring you're remaining steezy and dry on any rainy day. I don't actually know what that means, but anyway.
I had meant to tell you how sick you were looking today, Rob, yeah.
And steezy.
Only Jim at Planks could write a story about a raincoat in Manchester and get coverage for it.
On a skiing podcast.
That's all I've got to say.
It's
very good. My find of the week was a young gent that I bumped into at the ski show who had a lovely stand called Fauna Skis, Fauna, Fauna Skis. So I met him at the ski show, very young, very enthusiastic, far too good looking for his own good, and very cool as well, talking about sick stuff and rad and stuff like that, which I didn't understand the first few minutes. But once I got into his skis, 10 years of research, 5 years of developing and testing designs, built by his very own hands, beautiful.
80% of his life. Yes. Basically developing the ski.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, exactly. Fabulous wooden skis. These were, better than you know what. So these free skis started out as park skis, so dealing with all things I also know nothing about, like fighting the difference between edge cracks of factory detuned skis with thick edge sidewalls versus performance and keeping the skis looking good, Rob, obviously. But anyway, once he nailed that, he then started looking at it and thinking, right, we don't want to just do park skis. We want to do an all-mountain free-ride ski. So they've got the Pioneer, as the ski is called. It was built finding a balance between weight and stability. All of their production now is moved out in batches from a specialist factory in the Czech Republic, using the very best quality materials. So very nice, beautiful wooden skis. They've got the Alpaca and the Pioneer, and they have more skis in development. So their skis start at about 425 quid unmounted. So grand, I think, is a set of mounted skis of the all mountain skis. Super nice. You're not going to be sitting on a lift and finding every Tom, Dick and Harry with a set of these. Super passionate. Very impressive. Well worth looking up. And I would check them out at Fauna Skis, Fauna skis.com.
Sounds good. I will check them out. And when you say better than you know what, I presume you are talking about Tartiflette.
Yes, so exactly.
Skis that are better than Tartiflette.
Skis that are better than Tartiflette. That's exactly what I was thinking, Rob.
Okay.
Thank you for putting that.
Maybe Fauna Skis could use that as their strap line.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So what do we got next?
That sounds good. Yeah, just one more thing on the gear side. I just wanted to highlight this time of year, you start thinking about winter in the UK as well. And if you've got kids, is it going to snow? Is it going to snow this winter? Are we going to be able to go sledging? And I've got, you see them at the ski show, a guy we know really well who runs a company called Axi Ski. And Axi Ski is a very simple, nice, easy product. It's basically like a board made from like a strong plastic material. And they say, ditch the sledge and get the edge is their strap on. Yeah.
Yes, I've seen this.
Yeah.
It's like a snowboard, but a super flexible version with a rope on the front, isn't it?
It's exactly that. It is like a snowboard with a rope on the front. You don't need snowboard boots. You just wear normal winter shoes, jump on it and slide down. You can sit on it. You can stand on it. You can slide it down sand dunes if you want in the summer, as well as on the snow. And I have got one, and I have tried it a couple of times, and it is a lot of fun. And the cool thing is it's very easy to carry. It's super lightweight. It's not like a big plunky old thing. So if it snows, you can chuck it in the back of the car easily, or just whatever you're going to do, however you get to your chosen slope. It's just a really, really nice, neat little thing to have. Yeah. £35. You can buy it online at axi.com. That's AXISKI.com. Axi.com. They are a British company, and they are selling this all over Europe at the moment.
Yeah, I've been seeing them everywhere. And they look super cool. And the other thing, because I was looking at it thinking, when we drive down to the Alps, very, very skinny bit of kit that you can just slide in the car. Do you know what? When the kids fancy some fun in the evening, we're just sitting having a tartiflette. That's going to be the new code name now. they can jump on their axi ski. Such a cool idea. And then,
right, it will go in the boot and it wouldn't take up any room.
Yeah. Yeah.
No room at all. It's really, really quite, it's, I don't know how many, 5 millimeters thick or something like that. So, you could get a couple of those in the boot easily without
cool.
Really kind of impacting your space. So that is good. Yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd mention that because give them a little shout out. It's a nice, nice product.
I like it a lot. Very good. So that's all for our gear this week. Nice little gear roundup. We had some good stuff there. The Axi ski that we've just talked about, the Fauna skis, the Planks poncho. What else do we have? Oh, of course, the Helly Hansen ski free. So you don't get better than that for a week's bunch of gear. I wonder what we've got coming up next week. Something just as exciting, I expect.
I'm sure we'll find lots of new gear to talk about next week as well, Don. As we
very good.
Do.
I love it. I love the gear. I love gear. Love gear.
Yeah, we all love gear, don't we? So, what's next, Don?
Resort Spotlight, Park City. What about Park City? Park City in Utah. Do you know Park City in Utah? Park City in Utah? It's the silent T.
Yes. I have not skied there, Dom. No, I have not. So I know a bit about it, considering I haven't been there. But
well, let's see what we can piece together. I've been out there. So Utah's strapline is the greatest snow on earth, and yes, maybe it is a bit of a clever marketing thing, but let's face it, they aren't wrong. The 2022-23 season was absolutely record-breaking. Over 600 inches of snow in Park City through the winter. That's over 15 meters. I mean, seriously? Mega, isn't it? That's a lot of snow. Yeah. But not only that, because of Utah's location on the western side of the Rockies, they get massive snow fronts coming in from the Pacific. They get the moisture sucked out by the desert. So when it snows, it's super light, fluffy snow out there. That's why they claim to have the greatest snow on earth. And of course, it's a super play on words. We love it. It's such a great thing to say.
Yeah, right. So, really, it's the greatest show on earth, as well as the greatest snow on earth.
It is. It's the greatest show on earth, without a doubt. Well, one of the great things about Park City is the fact that there's direct flights from Heathrow straight to Salt Lake City, and then it's literally a 35-minute skip to the resort, and that's really nice. So whilst it might be a big, long journey on a flight, 35 minutes into resort is blooming super cool. So you get a nice rest on your flight, take a couple of sleeping tablets. I didn't just say that out loud. And wake up, land, and get into resorts. So, of course, you get 2 resorts there. You get Park City and you get Deer Valley. And they're not very far apart. We're talking 10, 15 minutes apart. Deer Valley, no snowboarders. It's Lindsay Vonn territory. It's where she's got one of her massive condos. It's super slick, super smart. Really, really, really nice in Deer Valley. Park City, also super nice. You haven't been there? No. It's more of a... It's a bit of a cowboy town, it is, almost sort of bordering on your sort of Breckenridge style. So sort of saloon bars, massive ski area, 7,300 acres of terrain, loads of shops, bars, restaurants. You can easily go there as a non-skier. I mean, if you went there and you were there for a week, you could easily go there and entertain yourself for a week there with so much going on, plenty to do, plenty of places to eat and drink. And obviously they have the Sundance Film Festival every year as well, which is super cool. You get the great distilleries in town as well, so the old gin distilleries and that sort of stuff, so that's really nice. It's obviously based on an old gold mining town, so you can go and visit. They've got a very cool museum. I'm not one to go skiing and end up in a museum, but I have to say their museum is super cool. And you can even go ski touring around and go and see all the mining areas and see the old preserved mine shafts as well. So that's quite cool. Like it. So very sustainable as well. So they have their public transport system is what they call on their trolleys, but they're trams to you and me. They're zero emissions. That's a real commitment to being eco-friendly. So that's really nice, getting around resort on those. Very nice hotels. The Pendry was the latest addition when I was out there. Super slick hotel there. I didn't get to stay there, but also loads and loads of condos, which is great for that sort of more budget conscious. And same in Deer Valley too. Lots of options, but out in Deer Valley, you get the real big, whacking great condos that are all owned by these superheroes. So, yeah, very, very nice indeed. So it's the largest skiable area in the US right now. There's over 7,000 acres of terrain, 40 lifts, 330 trails. 330 trails,
That's
Rob.
a lot.
Can you imagine? We need to go and we've got to go together and do one of these, surely.
What, do the whole 330
Well,
trails
we need to just go and do one of these mega resorts. We keep talking about these amazing places, and we're always doing it separately.
That's true. Okay, well, maybe that's a goal for this season, Dom.
Yes.
We're going to go and do one of these resorts together.
Yeah. Right.
So when we go through it, they get a 2-for-1, don't they?
Podcast,
they get a 2-for-1.
Buy Helly Hansen gear, get a ski pass.
It works like that.
Anyway, so back to Park City. Yeah. So 330 trails. There's over 1,000 vertical meters too, with the base at 2,000 and the peak at 3,000. So some great, very smart. Height, the snow's dry. There's 7 terrain parks, tons of skiing for all levels, beginners to experts. In fact, 50% of the trails are marked Black Diamond. So there's just tons of space for everybody. So it's a big, big resort and a great town as well. And that's before you even start going and skiing in Deer Valley. So super smart, upmarket there. Of course, that was the location of the Moguls competition, the 2002 Winter Olympics. There's the Olympic Park. The Olympic Park just outside Park City that held so many other events such as the bobsled, skeleton, the luge, Nordic combined events. So lots going on out there. And you've also got Wood Park City as well. There's 80 acres of indoor and outdoor action sports too. So it's a huge action sports centre there with its own terrain park for skiers and snowboarders. It's the place to be, Rob. Park City. This is where we need to be going.
It does sound great. You're selling it to me. I also knew you were going to talk about Park City today. So I checked out some of the webcams this week. And it is looking white, even down into the town. So
is it already?
Oh, it must be really exciting for people there to see that in early November as well. So
it's a place for the list, isn't it? Everyone's got to get to Park City. It's such a, I don't know. There's something about those places. I must admit, I'm getting more and more. I don't know. I just feel like I'm getting more and more drawn to those North American and Canadian resorts.
I was actually at World Travel Market in London this week at Excel. It's a huge travel trade show with lots of countries represented there. And I sat down with a guy from Jackson Hole in Wyoming as well, and chatted. That's another kind of town that would be on my list as well. But certainly Park City is right up there with, gotta go, right? I mean, it's the biggest skiing area in North America. Deer Valley, obviously, very, very, very famous and very famous for its upmarket, upscale kind of accommodation. If you're a snowboarder, obviously, sorry about that. Deer Valley, I guess
you're not welcome.
You're not welcome. That's controversial, but at the end of the day, that's what they've decided to do, and that would be for some people, for some skiers. That's clearly what they want. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They wouldn't do it. So, let's go.
Very good.
Let's go to Park City.
Let's go to Park City, definitely. So, that's a good one. And next is our bucket list destination.
The bucket list destination this week is a whole country, which is Japan. And again, a place that I haven't been to, Dom, but I know you've skied there. I really, really need to get there myself one day. That's how I feel. No excuse for it, really. I just haven't. I've even got a very good friend that owns a huge ski lodge in Huckleberry. I've never been to visit, so it's starting to get a bit silly now. But I kind of know at least why I want to go. The powder, the food, the cultural experience. the cities that have strange vending machines that sell little plastic things that are completely useless.
Or vending machines in petrol stations that sell you ready-made noodles, Rob. That's the best.
Oh, right.
That's what I couldn't believe.
I love all of that. I love all of that. I mean, I'm probably more going for the powder and the food, and that's my priorities. But yeah, all of those kind of cultural things are really cool. But apart from all of that, Dom, why should I? That's the question I've got for you. Why should I spend loads more money going to Japan than hopping across to the Alps this winter? Why would I do it?
This was interesting, Rob, because I knew you were asking this. So I did prepare a little bit. And when I started preparing for this, it really did make the memories flood back. And I was thinking, I've got to get back out there. So I flew direct Heathrow to Haneda, which is Tokyo's main airport. And I have to say, it did feel quite daunting heading out there. I was sort of thinking, what am I doing? Where am I going? And what is this going to be like? I didn't pay through the nose to get those flights. So that was it. I had a pretty good result on getting flights. I was going to a place where I had zero hope of understanding any words, even by staring at it any longer, or trying to shout out an English word much louder in the hope that somebody would understand it. I knew that I was going to be plunged into pretty much nothingness here. So Haneda Airport, the immediate thing that hit me was how helpful and polite everybody was. Locals were coming out and trying to help. The cleanliness, super organized, super slick. I loved all that. Got myself a cab to the nearby. It was just an airport hotel, so that was simple, but it was nice. It was sort of along the lines of a Holiday Inn, or maybe a little bit better than that. And I thought, you know what? I'm heading into Tokyo. I want to see the city. I'm going in by tube. And I grabbed hold of a map that quite closely represented a paper form of a bowl of noodles. It was literally hundreds. If you think the London Underground network is spicy, this was something else. This had hundreds of lines. And I pointed at where I wanted to be, i.e. the centre of Tokyo, and a guy told me to get on this train and don't get off it until whatever. So very helpful. And I did think I would probably never see my family or my suitcase again. So I got hold of this tube map, I got on the train and I got into central Tokyo, had an absolutely fantastic time. I know nobody wants to hear about my time in Tokyo. They only want to hear about the skiing, but I am going to tell you a little bit about Tokyo because absolutely fantastic. Few highlights for me. I did 2 days, 1 night in Tokyo. I did, excuse my Japanese expressions here. So I did Sensoji, which is their temple area where they have, this was an incredible experience. I wouldn't say I'm the most religious it's probably not massively my thing, but this felt fantastic. These huge 5-story pagoda stands right in the center there. There's incense burning. There's loads of not only local Japanese, but tourists flocking around, these insects burning. This is all outdoors. There is lots of touristy stuff being sold as well because they know we're all going to go there. But culturally, that was absolutely a fantastic start to staying in Tokyo. It really was. And it's what you expect to see on every postcard coming out of Japan. I then went on to Harmonica Yokocho. So this is a bunch of sort of very narrow alleyways, stuffed to the gills with hole-in-the-wall eateries. It was incredible. Mainly men. Couldn't understand that bit, but it was mainly men. They're sitting cheek to cheek, sort of 8 o'clock in the morning, eating like they haven't eaten for weeks. I wasn't quite bullish enough to go and sidle my way in between these guys and eating all this food. And I am talking, they are literally racked up on benches. Just
also
eating.
Breakfast, just having a breakfast outside.
Yep.
Outdoors,
sort of outdoors, but with outdoors with canopies, super narrow streets. They would just pull open a window in a place and then they'd all be sitting out that window eating. But they're eating, it certainly wasn't cornflakes and it wasn't granola. I mean, some of these things were wriggling in bowls. So yeah, very, very cool. I mean, it really was epic. I ate some street food. It was
not tartiflette then, obviously.
There was no tartiflette, no, afraid not. So those narrow streets of that area, Harmonica Yokocho, was really, really, it's exactly how you imagine Japan. I then walked a lot further than I expected to walk across the city to Tokyo Skytree, which is a 2,000-foot tower, 360-degree views of the city, super slick. Shibuya, which is the busiest intersection crossing. You've probably seen aerial pictures of the crossing where everyone is standing like robots at the side of the road, and it's about a 4 or 6 way intersection in the middle of Tokyo City, and then the lights go red, the cars stop, and then thousands of people cross at once. It's just, it's incredible. and then into Shinjuku National Gardens. They've got a lot of green space in Tokyo, fabulous parklands. I mean, it really is absolutely stunning. And Rob, I can tell you now, I could talk for hours about the Tokyo part of this trip alone, but I know everyone's saying to me, look, not interested. Tell us about the skiing bit.
You know what? I think it is interesting to hear about that, because I guess we know we do want to hear about skiing and obviously what the deal is, but we know a bit about skiing, and I'm sure listeners know about skiing. But when you go on trips like this, to be able to do stuff like that is great. And I'm sure people coming from America to Europe or any other destination in the world, Australia maybe, skiers that are coming over to Europe, they also want to go and see France or Paris or whatever. Well, they're here, and it's the same sort of difference, isn't it?
Absolutely. When you've done that trip, I mean, I could not go all that way to ski in Japan and not do Tokyo. I had to see it. And
absolutely,
it was big, bright lights, big city. It wasn't quite as technically, I thought there'd be technology everywhere.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? When I went into hotels and
everybody says that to me about Japan. It's surprisingly untechy.
Yeah.
When you're there.
I mean, there were incredible sights. I mean, the cultural change was fantastic. And I felt I walked a long way through Tokyo, a lot of walking. I got no cabs, and I felt very safe. It was very clean. People were very helpful. People would come out of office buildings and be running up to me and saying, are you okay? Do you need help? Where are you looking to go? They'd spotted me out of their office window. This generally happened 2 or 3 times. They'd spotted me out of the window looking at a map, and they'd come running out and say, what do you need? What are you looking for?
Wow.
It was exceptional.
I mean, you'd think that they were very used to seeing Westerners, Western people walking the streets of Tokyo, wouldn't you? I mean, like maybe if you went there 40 or 50 years ago, that would have been. Yeah. But you still get that. That's interesting.
It was everything I wanted it to be. I mean, I was fascinated by these huge areas of almost like slot machines, and they were packed with people on these slot machines. Not like one-armed bandits, but I don't know. They were winning strange toys or playing strange games in these, and there was hundreds of them. But it was all fascinating. But as I say, the one thing that really struck me: cleanliness, helpfulness. The organisation wasn't quite as I thought it might be, sort of 22nd century type, and it didn't feel like that. The hotels didn't feel quite as flashy as I expected them to be, but I would highly recommend at least a minimum of 2 days in Tokyo, because I did 2 days and I felt like there was so much more I wanted to do. So then, after 2 days and a night in my airport hotel, I did manage to find my way back in the spaghetti junction of underground trains. I don't know how the hell I ever did that. But I ended up getting a flight out of the Tokyo airport that I'd flown in, the international airport, Haneda, to fly up to New Shitozi in Hokkaido, the Shitozi airport. So I got on the plane and we're just about to take off, and the pilot says, "Hi there, everybody," in his Japanese accent. "Hi there, everybody. We're going to shoot up to Hokkaido. It's pretty snowy, but we're going to give it a crack."
Okay.
So you can see quite a few people grasping hold of the arms on their chairs. And I was sort of thinking, give it a crack. I mean, this wasn't a small plane. This was a proper plane. So anyway, we fly up to Hokkaido. We land in heavy snow. It wasn't a hairy landing, but there was a lot of snow. I mean, when we landed, it was like we landed in a bed of snow. It was piling over the windows. Quite incredible. And I was very lucky that once I got into Hokkaido, I was being looked after as a member of the press. So they picked me up in a 32-seater gold bus to myself with my translator, which was very handy, I have to say. And I'm aware that, not everybody's going to be picked up in a gold bus and shipped around with a translator. But it did mean I got to see a bunch of resorts all at one time, which was very handy in a short space of time. I was there doing a bit of a ski safari, so I wasn't hitting the big names. My first resort is called Rizutsu. It's about 90 minutes from the airport. It's the largest all-season resort in Hokkaido. But we are talking...
Which I've heard of,
Rizutsu, okay. So we're only talking 4 gondolas, 14 lifts, servicing 3 peaks, about 37 runs. So a bit of a variation of runs, nice little resort. And we are talking low price ski pass. I think it was somewhere in the region of about 30 quid a day, something like that. Lovely little resort. Really,
good friend that worked there for many, many seasons.
Oh, wow.
Actually.
Okay. Yeah. So it is very nice. I wouldn't want a week there, but a couple of days, a day or two was great. And for this sort of ski safari idea, worked very well. I moved on then to a place called Sapporo Kukusai, small popular resort on the outskirts of Sapporo City, which I'll come on to in a moment. Wow. I say it's on the outskirts. It's about an hour outside of town, but all said and done, by the time you get there in your park and everything else, it's very simple. The hotels there, again, pretty simple. Stayed out there. It was a relatively placid resort, nice skiing, some nice tree line skiing. So anybody who's inexperienced wants to try a bit of tree line skiing, that was really nice. You could ski through the trees and then back out again onto the runs. I can remember the colours of the trees and the sun. It felt almost like you were in part of a sepia photo. It was a beautiful place. Again, a smallish resort, so you wouldn't want to be going there for a week at a time. But if you're going to do a little tour around these Hokkaido resorts, definitely Kukusai is one to go to. And then I went and spent a day in Sapporo City. I was lucky to be there just at the time of the ice sculptures, which are massive. We're talking about there being the size of building fronts, these massive ice sculptures. And they create faces and buildings and they create stories in these huge ice sculptures. And then they play massive loud music with light shows up on the ice sculptures. Okay. So absolutely, Sapporo City is well worth going to. Nothing like Tokyo whatsoever. Entirely different. Quite high-rise-ish, but yeah, get there during those ice sculptures. I mean, what an experience. I mean, I was just like a kid in a candy store. It was just incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
So after Sapporo City, I went on to Sapporo Tenye, another small resort. So it's where the Olympics were held back in, I think,
1972.
72, yeah, not long, I think.
1972.
Was it? Okay. Yep. So I was there. The owner of the resort came out. He looked of an age, I have to say. I thought he surely isn't going to ski, but he did. Right. And he skied very fast. And he showed me around the resort.
Probably in the Olympics in 1972.
Probably was, yeah. And he could ski powder. He could ski powder. He was good. Loads of fun there. Tenye, again, smallish resort and low-cost lift passes. The lift systems were not of your most modern standards. We didn't have Wi-Fi or heated seats. But I have to say, it was a spectacular few resorts. I then went on to Sahorn. We had a fabulous powder day there, fabulous tree skiing there. Again, the beautiful colours, the Club Med resort there. I didn't stay in the Club Med resort. I stayed in a much lower class hotel while I was there. But that little safari of a few smaller resorts packed out a week and every day. I mean, I was very lucky. Every day was a powder day. I mean, I think they said something like in a 30-day month, it snows for 25 days out of a 30-day month. I was lucky. It snowed every single day I was there, almost all day, every day. So what I would say is those people who are sort of looking at Japan thinking, I'm a novice skier, I'm too scared to go, it's all big backcountry, deep powder, I can't manage that, I'm not. Absolutely don't be put off, because in fact, they are actually quite strict about the whole backcountry skiing. So it's quite heavily roped off. Plenty of people do it, but it's quite frowned upon there.
Yeah.
But you know what? Ski down the piste, waist deep snow, unbelievable. Because it's just, they just can't get on top of it. So it's permanently snowing. Ski down through these lovely trees. The trees almost grow at the most perfect distance to ski down between the trees. So that's super fun as well. You don't get as many mountain hut restaurants like you do in the Alpine resorts, but what you do get is when you get to the bottom, a fantastic Japanese beer and fantastic Japanese food. And that's another massive bonus, is the fact that you're getting down, you're getting these fabulous noodle dinners. And I mean, honestly, the lunches and all that it was just spectacular and such a nice, refreshing difference from your tartiflette.
Well, I was just going to say, maybe we should invent a sort of Japanese version of tartiflette.
Imagine.
I mean, it's got to be done. It's like that comfort food.
Yeah.
With all of that stuff in it, but more sort of Japanese style.
Yeah. Yeah. The food really was exceptional. I mean, it was a big highlight of my trip. And I wouldn't say I'm probably not the most adventurous food person. I think you're probably more of a foodie than me. But I have to say, I mean, sitting down in these restaurants with your legs crossed and your shoes off and bringing you barbecued fish, that are still on the hot griddles and all that. I mean, honestly, the food, you'd love it. It's
definitely a draw for me.
Yeah.
I love, Japanese food, Asian food, but Japanese food. And for me to go to Japan to ski, it would definitely also be one of those things that would draw me to the country anyway.
Exactly. I was kind of stitched up by the translator, because once she got the measure of me, she was significantly younger than me. Once she got the measure of me, she took me to dinner one evening, not telling me that there would be 30 people waiting to greet me, Mr. Killinger from In the Snow. Nobody told me about this. I arrived into dinner to find a basket of something wriggling around alive while she looked and sniggered at me. And my palate didn't take to the live animal that was in there. So they took it away, did whatever they had to do with it, barbecued it, brought it back. And it was pretty tasty, that. So that was some fun. I guess my only regret of that big travel was the fact that I didn't get to the big resorts. So I didn't get to places like Niseko, Furano, or down to Hakuba or anywhere like that. But I have to say that if you fancy a ski safari like that, where you're doing a few resorts and you're taking in Tokyo as well, it really did work for me. So as a holiday maker, I probably wouldn't have sat there and thought, right, I'm going to visit these 5 or 6 resorts in North Island, and none of them are resorts that I'd ever really particularly massively heard of. But I have to say, now that I do know them, I would highly recommend people looking them up and looking out for that sort of trip. And I think next time I probably will take in the bigger resorts of Niseko, Furano, Hakuba, those sort of places, just to see how much more advanced they are and how much bigger they are. I'd like to see them. So so that's my experience of Japan. It's quite exhausting. So I've worn myself out there. I think I need to lie down.
Well, it is a whole country we're talking about here, not just one ski area. So that's fair enough. We needed a bit of time for that one. And I think the Tokyo thing is great.
Yeah.
I believe January and February are the best times.
Yes.
I've always looked at Japan, and for me, it would be easier to go towards the end of the season, but people sort of say, well, you won't get the powder experience. It's kind of like, if you want that powder, you need to go January, February time.
Yeah. Well,
for all of those reasons.
I hope that was useful to you, and I hope it was useful to our listeners. I hope I didn't ramble on too much, but very passionate about skiing in Japan, and I'm very, very keen to get back. I know it feels like a long way, but actually, once you fly into Tokyo and you get those couple of days rest there, even though it's, you do want to dance around and see everything, it's so worth the trip, and highly recommend it. So, Rob.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I feel like I've done a lot of talking this week, and it's been a good week. Snow on the ground. What more can we hope for? We're going to be going skiing soon. I mean, surely in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be heading out to the mountains.
I'm going to tune in tomorrow morning to the ski race on Eurosport and watch that Zermatt Chavinia, I suppose, downhill this weekend. I think Levy's on as well this weekend. So lots of skiing on. It feels like winter has started already, and we're only just out the first week of November. I think I'm probably this weekend about to book an easy jet flight to Geneva for the beginning of December to get out to Val d'Isère, I think at the first weekend of December.
It's all excitement. And what else have we got next week? We've also got our very own Shemi Alcott coming onto the show in a week or two's time, so that's going to be very interesting too.
Looking forward to that. Getting
Rob,
some different insight on things. Thank you, Dom.
I wonder what we'll be saying in a couple of weeks' time, or in a week's time when we talk about the snow conditions. I wonder what we'll be saying about the snow then. Let's hope that it's all still there and there's more of it.
I would put money on the fact that there'll be more of it. I am pretty confident. Yeah.
Fingers crossed for a great season. Rob, very excited to talk to you this week. It's been good fun. Really enjoyed it.
You too, Dom. And I've just got to say, happy birthday.
You're going to get that in at some point. Rob, I haven't got anything more to say on that note. I will speak to you in a week's time. Good to talk.
See you then.
Adios.
Mais non, talkie-walkie.
I'm pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.